floor, thinking that would be more like being outside in Vietnam, because that's what he was used to. He couldn't do that. So he went outside and he slept under the picnic table in the itchy, wet grass, a lot like Vietnam, with the crickets all over and ants crawling all over his face. And he said, I slept like a baby. Yeah. So he went and became a lawyer. When he went to college, he decided, I'm going to bury my head in a book, and I'm not going to let all these bad things happen. Or the bad things that happen, I'm not going to let them affect me. So here's my message. And some of you are like, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Here's my message. And I'm not teaching doom and gloom. I'm not doing that. I don't want that to happen to you. I hope you have a very happy life. So please remember this. When or if something really difficult happens, you have to make a choice. And in America today, so many people are feeling sorry for themselves. And they don't do their homework. They don't want to come to school. They get mad at their friend for something really stupid and they tell them off. So I want you guys, and I hope I teach long enough that you're up there. I have planning on 3 more years. What grade are you in?
7th, 8th.
7th, 8th. Yeah.
Yep.
So it might be my last year, that I'll have you in class. This may not resonate. You guys know what resonate means? This may not mean a lot to you now, but one day, unfortunately, if something bad happens, you'll be like, I remember that old fat guy telling me that one day something bad would happen and I have choices to make. I hear it every day from sophomores. I couldn't do that. Here's my favorite story. They had to interview a grandparent and write a little story over their life. They call that, if you write a story about someone's life,
Autobiography.
autos on yourself,
Oh.
biography. This is what the kid told me. He's like, Meisner, I just couldn't write that biography of my grandma. I said, well, not feeling well? Oh no, she's feeling well, but she doesn't have a cell phone. I said, okay. I said, well, where's grandma live? Well, just on the other side of town. So I am very guilty of telling it like it is. I'm like, you idiot. I said, get over there and talk to her. Oh. Yeah, I guess I could have done that. So I went over and talked. And I called him an idiot because I coached him in football. And he knew that's just how we deal with things. You ever called an idiot in football? By who? I did once? Well, I didn't mean it. Yeah. Do you guys have any questions? Has anybody in here lost a grandparent yet? Yeah. Grandparents are wonderful. If you have grandparents alive, go see them. I just lost a great aunt. She was 99. And she told us, I'm not going to make it to 100. I think she had a month to go. I'm like, why not? I can tell. And she goes, I've lost everybody. She's lost her kids. She outlived her kids. And her husband and hers, she's the last one left, except for like a, what would I be, great nephew. And she said that, I think it was like 4 days later she passed. And she lived a real long life and had some terrible things happen too. Has anybody lived through a divorce in here? And have to go see mom or dad on split weekends or anything? Yeah, that's tough. And don't think that hasn't affected your brain somehow. Okay. Have you taught PTSD?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. So there is a mental, they call it a mental disorder. That doesn't mean you're like a freak or you can't do anything. But when you see or experience something tragic, it could be teasing, it could be a death, it could be a divorce, mom or dad yelling. Your brain stores that in there and it leads to depression, and sometimes it can lead you to withdrawal. It can lead you to be violent and angry. So post means afterwards, so it's called PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Post means after the event, so after the divorce. Hey, what's a trauma? I've experienced a lot of trauma in my life. What is that? Bad things, physical or mental. Okay? If you put your hand in the blender when it's running, you will have trauma. I guarantee it. Okay? If you live through a divorce and have to do that, you will have trauma. Okay? Sometimes that trauma creates stress, so there's PT, post-trauma stress, and then disorder. And some people go and get help for that. Counseling, they can take medicine for that. But you know what most people do to overcome a tough situation? What do most people do? Who do they go for counseling? It's right here. That's where they go for counseling. They sit down and they go, okay, this is what's happened. This is how I'm going to handle it. Yeah. Or you could go to a counselor for $200 or $300 an hour. And they'll probably tell you the same thing. So, the Vietnam vet who will be here, if it works out for you, to come up and visit, but he went to 1 million different counselors to get these images of his friends dying, and some of them were really grotesque injuries. Like looking over at his friend, he was just had a conversation with him, and he looked and there was nothing from the neck up left, nothing. He had those images in his head. And then he finally went to a counselor, and the counselor told him, post-traumatic stress disorder, yeah, that's what it is. After the traumatic event, you have stress, and you can't, because some of them drink to overcome it. You know, some of them won't go to work, some of them become violent. But this counselor said, PTSD should stand for put that sucker down. So whatever it is that's bothering you, deal with it yourself. You guys counsel yourself every day. You guys do. You're like, that person said something really stupid to me. They're an idiot. I'm not dealing with that. You've counseled yourself. Okay, is that?
Good, yeah.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of good things happen in my life, so I don't want you to feel sorry for Rick Meisner because he had some shit thrown his way.
But
And because everybody does.
Yep. And this guy, if you don't know him, which a lot of you don't, he radiates just positivity, and I'm glad you're here. And
Yep.
that's another reason where it's he's sharing his story hey, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but I bring the sun. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He brings that. So.
And I've sworn a couple times, so you can go and tell your moms and that, and I'll say, yeah, I did. Here's what I learned at a very young teacher. I love this guy. He was a science teacher. He's like, I want you to understand this, and it might get you in trouble a couple times. But when you're dealing with a young person, and we were young and didn't always do things right, hey, that's improper. Don't do that. You might go, okay. Or, knock that shit off. That's dumb. And as a young person, you might go, hey, I like this guy or gal. Made it real. So, I apologize for that. I am my father's son. He swore every second of the day, and my dad's gone. He died a couple years ago. My mom is still alive. I've never heard her swear. Not even shit. Nothing. And my dad, he couldn't say a sentence without it. So, anybody here have parents who swear? Okay. How about this one? How many of you swear?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. He's good.
Yeah. If you want to see some good movies, and I like movies or somebody who got their butt kicked in life and then come out rosy at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Has anybody seen Forrest Gump? That's like an old movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so Forrest Gump. Shawshank Redemption. Ooh, wow.
Based on true story, that one, right?
Yeah. And he got accused of murdering a couple people, and he didn't do it. He didn't do it. And so he busted out of prison, and he dug a hole in his prison wall and put a big poster over it to cover up that hole. And one night he made a dash for it. Dug a hole through the wall, and that wall went to an empty room, and then there was this big sewer pipe about this big. And he had this sharp rock that he got from outside in the courtyard somewhere, and he chiseled it to be really sharp, and he pounded on this pipe and cracked it open. And have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
And made a hole in this pipe and crawled into, and that pipe's full of human, let's call it stuff. Okay. And he crawled through, I think they said it was like 1.5 miles full of sewage.
Oh, man.
And the sewer pipe went all the way out of this huge prison and dumped into a field. And from there, he ran to Mexico and lived the rest of his life happily. So Shawshank Redemption, you might ask your folks, I think it's rated R. Yeah, ask your folks if it's okay, maybe have them watch it with you. But there are some really neat stories out there. Yeah. And when I think I've had it really bad, I realize that I haven't. Because when I miss my 2 kids, when they go back to mom's house, I really missed them and I cried and that. And I would bitch to my mom about that. And one day she said, get in the car. I think I was 35. I should have known better. 35's old, right? So I was bitching about not seeing my kids. And she said, get in the car, we're going somewhere. I didn't know where she was taking me. She took me up to the cemetery where her 2 boys were buried. She goes, this is where I go to visit my 2 kids.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, yeah, my kids aren't dead. I get to see them. They're pretty well adjusted. Yeah, when they go home, everybody cries. But when they come over, everybody laughs. And yeah, so I think you will have some really good teachers. They could be parents, best friends. There's a girl, Uglum girl.
Yeah.
All kinds of health issues, right?
Yeah.
Pretty close to your guys' age.
She's actually she's in second block.
Yeah, she's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Teachers have favorites. They do. Do you know who mine are? Mine are people who are friendly, work hard, are nice to people, especially me, and just are fun to be around. So when teachers say they don't have favorites, they are lying to you. All teachers have favorites. They love people who do what they should do. I mean, aren't some of those your favorite people?
I do, yep.
Yep.
But I'm the one who says, I don't mean to lie. I mean, I just say I don't have favorites, but I get what you're saying. When there's certain kids in the room, they brighten you up, but usually it's the ones that shine for you.
No, because my grade average in high school, I went to play sports. Anybody play sports? And I had a really pretty girlfriend in high school. I really did. So I think I went to school because I had a hot girlfriend and I played sports. And then there were some books over here. I'm not sure what I was supposed to do with them. If I was supposed to read them or do the homework in there. But I had a B minus, B, not D, B as in boy, minus grade average. And a lot of teachers went, what are you going to do, Meisner, when you graduate? I said, I'd like to go be a teacher. You better go hold a sign on a road crew or something. And they were serious. And I knew myself that I had some intelligence and I just had to stop being lazy. Yeah. And I went to college and my folks said, we're not paying for anything. They could have. I'm not sure why they didn't do that for me. I think they were from an older school generation. So I paid for everything. And when you buy your own car, you'll treat it like wonderful. When you drive like mom or dad's car, you might beat on it a little bit because you didn't pay for it. But how many people in here have to buy some of your own things? I think that's fantastic. It might suck, and you might look at mom or dad like, hey, why aren't you buying that? They're really doing you a big favor. It doesn't seem like they are, but they really are. So, okay. Thank you, folks. Okay, any Green Bay Packer fans? Hey, minus 10, 20. All right. Hey, for 32 years. How old are you?
33.
33. So I've been teaching about as long as she's been alive, and I have seen thousands of teachers. She is one of the most positive, electrified, honest. You should thank your lucky stars that you have that's what I'm crying now. That you have a woman like that, because there are some real bad teachers out there. They really don't care about their subjects, and I don't think they really care about, because there are some.
Yep.
And I work with some. And all they do is complain. That kid didn't, really? Did you know that kid just lost his grandma last week? Maybe that's why he really didn't think your botany lesson was the coolest thing ever. Oh no, I didn't know that. I said, well, maybe if you wouldn't bitch all the time and just sat down and talked to him a little bit, you might know that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but thank you.